launch promotions, open cart, closed cart strategies, how you should be thinking about it, some insights on things that you probably haven't really thought about too much as far as promoting your own content goes. So the question of the day that we have here is, do you think that launching a course or a program during a closed period is more effective than keeping it open? What we're referring to here is two different launch models. One being open launch model and the other one being the closed launch model. Basically, the difference between them is, the open launch model is that someone can get access to your course or program whenever it is that they want. A closed one means that they're only open for a short period of time and then the doors close. So once they're closed, they can't get it. The reality is it doesn't really matter that much. The more important thing is that you actually choose one and go for it and you launch. Because if you don't actually get through that decision process of launch it open, launch it close, I don't know what to do, nothing happens, right? You can't improve on something if you didn't do it in the first place. I want you to take the pressure off a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to choose this particular model and I'm going to go in with no fear of the results. That is going to be the best way to approach it in the first place, because otherwise you're going to stress yourself out. The results are going to be, oh, I don't have people buying, I don't have people this. And you're constantly in that reactive mode and you're getting too emotional about it. You need to make sure that you're not getting too attached to the outcome. And the first piece of advice is choose one, go for it, and then once you've done it, make sure that you've measured the results throughout the process. So that means I want to see the number of people that have actually seen your offer. What is the traffic? How many people have seen your ad? How many people have actually clicked on the ad to go through and seen the landing page? How many people have seen the landing page? How many people have opted in through the landing page to go to that next stage, to the conversion tool? So whether it's a webinar, in cases of courses and programs, generally webinars do well. Is it a video series? Is it flash sale? What is it that you've got going on? How many people have gone through that, and how many people have got to the cart stage? And how many people have seen the cart, and then how many people have abandoned versus how many have bought? So this is all data that you can collect along the way, and it's all about telling the story of how successful, how effective, or how unsuccessful, or how ineffective the particular launch turned out to be. And the results don't matter that much, because you need to have a baseline in order to be able to improve upon it, right? It's like hopping on the scales. You don't hop on the scales in your mind because you're thinking about, oh, I've got to lose some weight or whatever it is. You don't hop on the scales expecting the perfect outcome. You hop on the scales to know where you are currently at. That's just the results that you got for doing what it is that you knew how to at the time. And then you implement little changes, you tweak it and improve it. So then you get the next set of results. Yeah, okay, 10% better than the last one. Fantastic. We're moving in the right direction. And then the next one might go, oh, we're 5% lower than the last one. What did we change? Because we're moving in the wrong direction. So let's put some of those pieces back, or maybe we'll not try too many things at once and try and just change one thing at a time and see how that improves. That's the first point that I want to get across, is that it doesn't really matter which one you choose, but in case that you do want to know more specifics around the different types, in an open launch model, you are constantly having additional promotions going on each and every month to give them a new reason to buy this month, as opposed to next month, or just waiting until whenever they want it. Have you created like an Amazon wish list? How many things are on that list that you've just looked at once? You're not going to buy it straight away unless you really, really need it right now. So that's the other thing that you want to be thinking about, is what is the expectations of your audience? Do they really, really need it right now? An example of where they would be, maybe you have a course and it's regarding pregnancy. Well, your audience only has 9 months to deliver the baby, right? If they can only get it at one particular time of the year, you're going to be cutting out people who may be pregnant, but now they've had the baby. You get the idea. The other side is your closed launch. And that means that it's only open for a limited amount of time, and then it's shut, and then it's gone. The downside to that is that when it's shut, it's shut. You're not generating revenue. Unless it's a subscription type model, then you have the revenue going through. So that's a way around it. Another downside to having a closed launch is that it requires a lot of energy and a lot of preparation in the lead up to it before you open the doors. When you're thinking that I only have to open the doors 5 days, I only have to do work for 5 days and then I collect all this money. No. You're doing work all the way leading up to launch. And the open is kind of just like the nearly at the crest of the launch. And then when you close it, like after you've done the open, then you have to do the follow-ups to get them to try and come in before they close. But once it's closed and you can't earn anymore. So there's pros and cons for both. As I said, programs, courses typically go to a closed model. But depending on how much energy you have, how prepared you are, how soon you're about to do a launch, planning ahead helps with choosing your launch model. But regardless of which one you choose, you just need to choose one, as I said before, and make sure that you take that action, you implement it, you record the data, and then you reflect upon it and do a debrief afterwards to say, okay, these are the areas that we probably need to look at. But choosing a closed or open model for a program or course, to give you a succinct answer, it's I would say that it would be more effective in a closed one than an open one, but it really depends on what your situation is, what your content is, what your audience is going to expect, how much they need it right now, how much energy do you have to do all the preparations leading into it. And the other side of the coin is that if you do choose an open model, what are you going to do to give them reason to buy this month versus just whenever they want? Because you need to do promotions in that instance as well. You need to come up with ideas for the promotions to keep going, and you should be looking at it. If you're doing a closed one, you need to look at the calendar as well to say, when is this going to be best suited for my own ability to prepare, but also when's it going to be ready for the market also. Anyhow, I hope that answers the questions. The question was, do you think launching a course program during a closed period is more effective than during an open period? To be honest, it doesn't really matter too much, but I would say marginally yes. Closed does work better, but there's a lot that goes into it. And whether you should do that, well, that's a totally different situation. You need to decide based on your own situation, your own product, your own market, and the amount of energy and preparation and time you have to do that.